Today, March 13th, and tomorrow, March 14th, we are seeing this total lunar eclipse in Virgo. And we're going to look at this lunar eclipse. We're going to look at this energy across the axis of Virgo and Pisces, as well as other aspects that are influencing the energy today and tomorrow. The Virgo Pisces axis describes the relationship between the microcosm and the macrocosm, between small systems, the body, and universal energies. So the Virgo Pisces axis is an astrological concept that combines the earth sign Virgo with the water sign Pisces. This is also known as the health or service axis. It represents the balance between the physical and the spiritual realm. It is a connection between the imagination and reality, and the importance of integrating logic and intuition, the balance between order and structure, and the flow. This axis can help us bring our dreams into reality. It can help us to see the divine within all things. It can help us balance our inner softness with our tangible self. And it can help us to find the balance between our day-to-day routines and our dreams and visions. The Virgo Pisces axis can teach us how to create balance within ourselves and in the world, and it can help us learn to integrate the earthly and the ethereal. Can help us find a balance between our dreams and our physical reality. The Pisces-Virgo nodal axis signifies a powerful journey of healing, asking us to balance practicality with spirituality, to embrace the unknown and let go of control while fostering compassion and creative expression. The North Node in Pisces encourages us to trust the unseen, lean into our imagination, and find meaning in moments of stillness. It encourages us to tap into our intuition and our spiritual connection. The South Node in Virgo prompts us to release rigid routines and overanalyze, and it helps us to release this desire for perfection and overthinking. As the nodes move through these signs, we are called to move from the micro, detail-orientated energy of Virgo towards the expansive, intuitive, dreamlike qualities of Pisces. The lunar nodes are points where the orbit of the moon crosses the ecliptic, an imaginary line on the sky that marks the annual path of the sun. They are wonderful users for predictions. The lunar nodes shift every 18 months and influence where our elliptic axis will be. It is our eclipse axis that we will be working through. The lunar nodes are mathematically calculated between the sun and the moon. They carry symbolic aspects as they are not planetary bodies. They are always located directly opposite each other, creating a powerful axis that becomes highly charged during eclipse season. On a collective level, the lunar nodes and the influence of their positioning, their zodiac axis, currently Virgo Pisces, indicates our evolution and growth as a society, as a collective, and as a whole. It also indicates what themes and lessons we are destined to work through. They're going to come to light during this time, influencing where we see ourselves, where we see our future, and how we overcome and integrate the past as a whole. On a personal level, the nodal energies will influence us all differently. It's interesting to look at the themes and energies of these nodal points to see how they're going to influence and guide us through the next 18 months. The North Node is associated with our future, where we are heading. It's where we get curious, where we get active in who we are and who we are becoming. It is how we are growing, nourishing, and supporting ourselves, how we develop new skills, talents, and habits to aid our growth and intentional actions, allowing us to turn up for the present and future self in our physical forms. It's how we learn to be new forms, our vulnerable exploration of our ever-changing self. And it's often referred to as our purpose, our journey, our destiny. It is the energy of living for ourselves and adapting and growing our being as a whole. The North Node is currently in Pisces, which is the mutable water sign. It is the last sign of the zodiac. And as the nodes move backwards through our zodiac system, we have moved from Aries into Pisces for the North Node. Mutable water signs are about change. They're about our emotional waters, our intuitive knowing, and the spiritual sides of ourselves. Pisces, the archetype of the two fish swimming in different directions, is about the balance that comes from working with our dark and working with our light and knowing that we are going to end up wherever we need to be. It is a very spiritual sign, a liminal sign of endings that bring new beginnings. So the North Node working through Pisces is going to be asking us to step outside our comfort zone and to work towards our newest form of future, our newest present self, working towards the goals and intentions that we hold for our future. It's asking us to swim through our emotional waters to understand that our intuition, our inner knowing, is going to guide us as we make changes in the world as we go. The South Node is associated with our past experiences, and where we have come from. It is about our shadows and how they make us curious, how we get familiar with them, how we illuminate them with love and understanding. It's looking at our shadows, our pain points, our past hurts and experiences, and is allowing us to illuminate them in love and understanding, giving them the care and attention they need to heal and be understood. From this healing, we see the lessons that allow us to grow. It's this energy of unconditional acceptance and understanding and renewal of the past for what it is, a way to compost the past and nourish our present soul. So while the South Node, our past, the things that could hold us back, is in Virgo, the mutable earth sign. So it is asking us to digest our past experiences, to understand and integrate them into our being. From this place of understanding and integration, we are able to allow these past experiences to be a part of ourselves, but not to govern ourselves, not to hold us back, not to restrict us. It is allowing us to digest the past in order to renew and bring things into being. As the mutable earth sign, it is about grounding the changes that are necessary into our being, allowing us to see all sides of the stories and to integrate the messages into ourselves to enable us to flourish and grow. Virgo is all about looking at the details, looking at the ways that we can bring our knowledge and understanding into our being, into our wholeness, and seeing that the past is part of whom we are, and allowing us to bring it into this place of understanding, a place that will not hold us back, but will allow us to work to the future. So this nodal axis between Virgo and Pisces is really allowing us to digest our past, digest the experiences we have gone through, and bring them into our future in ways that are supportive to the cycles that we are working through. Full moons occur when the moon and the sun are in opposition. Oppositions are aspects of confrontation where two energies come to each other at a head, and we here on Earth are the bridge between these two energies. It is when the moon is in full illumination allowing us to stand in our completeness. And it is the peak of the waxing half cycle of the moon. This full moon is a full moon lunar eclipse, where the earth is going to come in the way of the sun and the moon, creating this red tinge to the moon. Now, blood moon eclipses are total full moon lunar eclipses. They get their name from when the moon turns reddish in color during the eclipse. This blood moon in Virgo on the 14th of March is the first of 3 lunar eclipses, with the subsequent blood moon eclipses following on September 7th this year and then March 3rd, 2026. These 3 blood moon eclipses will tell a story that involves some sort of shedding and release, as blood moons tend to strip away those things that are unnecessary, forcing us to peel back layers to a greater truth. Blood moons are seen as transformational. They are about bringing deaths and rebirths, but they're ultimately about fast-tracking our spiritual growth and taking us to exactly where we need to be, shifting us through great change to allow us to stand on our new path. They accelerate our timeline and help us to make quantum leaps into the new stages of our soul. So this blood moon in Virgo is giving us the courage to bring things to conclusion. In order for us to transform, we really need to wrap up the things of the past to allow us to move into the energies of rebirth. So this full moon eclipse, asking us to have the courage to transform, is really allowing us to work through these nodal energies, enabling us to shed the messages of our past, to shed the understanding of how these messages are holding us back, to allow us to flow into our being, flow into the structures of our life, and flow into our dreams. Virgo is the sign of the Virgin, and the Virgin is the sovereign goddess who has come into her full power and doesn't need anyone outside of herself. She feels full and whole within her being. She knows that all the wisdom, love, and strength she needs dwells within her. She is all about taking back her power and standing in her own. When we stand in our own, we are able to project ourselves out into the universe. We are able to control our power, control our growth, control our movements forward. So with this blood moon in Virgo, we are invited to step into some of this Virgo consciousness and to remember that within us too flows a river of wisdom, strength, and wholeness. We are invited to connect to our inner being and recognize that we have the power within to navigate whatever situations we may find ourselves in. Returning to our own inner strength and intuition is going to be a powerful way to navigate these eclipse energies, because we are far more powerful than we believe that we are. Virgo also rules over the body and the mind-body connection, and our day-to-day work projects, routines, our organizational skills, our mental health. And these areas are all going to be highlighted during this eclipse. As an earth sign, Virgo calls for us to get grounded and take a well thought out approach to whatever arises, to not allow ourselves to become overcritical or caught up in our mental processing, as Virgo has a tendency to have us overthink or to be harsh and judgmental about ourselves and others. It is really asking us to align the mind, body, and soul. The mind, body, and soul. And this is going to allow us to see ourselves in completion, to see ourselves in our sovereignty, and to take action from a place of knowing our worth, for you are worthy of your movements forward. And this full moon eclipse in Virgo is really going to show us how worthy we are. It is going to allow us to strip away those aspects that are holding us back and to give us the courage to rebirth ourselves from this anew, giving us the courage to walk away from those things that bring confrontation in our life, those things that are not allowing us to be ourselves in our fullness. Shaking things up in order for us to stand in our power. We also see during this Virgo full moon, this stellium of planets between the Sun, Saturn, and Neptune. And we also have the North Node sitting here too. And this is going to bring big waves of Pisces energy into this full moon alignment. A stellium is when 3 planets are in alignment and is seen as a very powerful time that heightens our sense of awareness and allows us to see through the veil and from a place of intuitive knowing that allows us to see the silver lining of what is going on around us. Saturn is the planet of boundaries. It is the planet of structures. It is the planet of karma and the lessons that we learn. It represents the taskmaster, this ability to get things done. It is our limits, our boundaries, both good and bad, the restrictions we hold on ourselves as well as the boundaries we hold others to. It is the routines, structures, and disciplines that we use in order to bring foundational growth into our plans and actions, allowing us to execute and grow our plans. It is the energy of responsibility and taking accountability for our actions and turning up in those day-to-day activities that will lead us to our goals. It is the energy of intentional action and the effort that we put into things. But it is also the lessons that we learn and how we allow those lessons to influence and affect us. Neptune is the planet of illusions, imagination, spirituality, and beliefs. It represents our creative forms, our belief systems, our spiritual awakening, cosmic unconditional love, unity, and our connection to our inner psychological self, our inner consciousness. It's how we experience things on a soul level, and it's about how our beliefs and our spirituality influence our ability to bring our goals into creation. It is a very creative energy that comes from a place of love and unity, and this alignment within ourselves. Neptune is also about the illusions that we hold. For our dreams are an illusion unless we are taking actions towards them. So this alignment of Saturn and Neptune is allowing us to bring actions into our dreams, bring our dreams into our routines, and is really going to be a powerful manifestation point to allow us to set things in motion that will lead us towards our goals, that will lead us towards the things that we are working towards. The Sun is the representation of our outer self. It is our ability to show the world, shine into the world, show everyone how we are turning up, bring things into the physical world. So this alignment of these 3 energies, our outer physical self, our dreams, and how we see our dreams, our beliefs, how we believe in ourselves, and the actions and structures that we take in opposition to our inner self in this more detailed, powerful knowing. It's really going to bring this point of shifting energy that will allow us to shift into our dreams, to bring things into manifestation, to take inspired action from this place of knowing that we are enough. Virgo energy is telling us you are whole, you are complete in all your forms. Everything is part of the process. Everything is part of learning and understanding. Virgo allows you to digest those lessons, to bring them into your being, to understand the real power behind them, allowing you to shift into transformational energy. So this full moon eclipse in Virgo is asking us to shift into these energies of transformation that will enable us to turn up for ourselves in the outside world. It will allow us to align with our dreams, align with the actions that we're taking, align with our outer self, and confront the things that are standing in our way to allow us to forgive and shed and release those things. Full moons are a powerful point of forgiveness. They are a time for us to draw a line in the sand and allow those things to be released. So enabling us to forgive the past and move into the future. Eclipses, again, focusing on those nodal energies of past and future, allowing us to take the past and shift into the future and not allow the past to hold us back. This moon is also known as the worm moon. It is in reference to the earth waking up, to the earthworms and the grubs that emerge from their winter dormancy at this time of year, marking a sure sign of spring. It is at this time of year the ground begins to soften and trees begin to thaw enough for worms, grubs, and larvae to reappear, inviting robins and other birds to feed, a true sign of spring. Roots start to push their way through the soil, and the earth experiences a rebirth as it awakens from its winter slumber. The earth stands in perfect balance between dark and light, and we have the equinox coming up on the 21st. The earth begins to warm, the worms awaken, and the sap begins to flow. Life pushes itself up and out of the soil and stretches towards the warming sun. It's the potential that lives within the seeds being called to action. So as this moon is an eclipse, it's going to be very transformational energy that's going to shake us up, but it is also the worm moon. It is the moon of growth. It is the moon of planting seeds that we are going to nourish into growth. It is about the ideas that we are going to bring into fruition in the season to come. And this is a very important aspect to be looking at with this full moon, this eclipse moon, as it is going to allow us to move into these energies of growth and renewal that are very important for our transformation. In order to transform, we need to have goals. We need to be in this energy of creation. And this moon is all about the energy of creation. It is about creating for the self, from this sovereign sense of self, and pushing it through to our outside world, allowing these things to come together to where we stand so that we can plant those seeds that are going to flourish into our next form of self, our next form of growth. We also have some very strong retrograde motions that are influencing our cosmic skies at this time. We currently have Venus in retrograde in Aries, and Mercury will be moving into retrograde on the 14th. And this is going to slow the energies down around us to encourage us to ponder and look at the past as a way to move forward. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It is the cardinal fire sign. It is all about initiating things into being. Fire energy represents our actions and the desires behind our actions and enables us to move in new directions. Cardinal signs are the signs that initiate our seasons. They are points of renewal where we are able to initiate new actions. Venus is the planet of unconditional love and acceptance. It is the planet of our values. It represents our relationships in all their forms, including our own. It is unconditional love and acceptance. It is understanding. And it is this energy of seeing the things that we value and how the things that we value influence not only how we feel about ourselves, but how we turn up and treat others. Mercury is the planet of communication. It is the planet of messages. It represents our communication in all its forms, the words we say, the tones we use, the thoughts and expressions that we have. It is our mind brought into action through our words, through the writing that we do, through the way that we express ourselves, and the messages that we give. So these two planets being in retrograde is really going to bring this energy of inner love, inner understanding, really turning us towards looking at the stories that we are telling and how these stories can influence the way that we see ourselves, the way that we love ourselves, the way that we give, the way that we value, and really allowing us to find a new way of bringing our story and our love into our being, Retrograde motion is all about the planet moving backwards, moving through the underworld, allowing us to illuminate the restrictions and boundaries that are holding back the energies of that planet. So allowing us to see where we are restricting our love, where we are restricting our messages, where we are not speaking truthfully, where we are not giving love unconditionally, allowing us to illuminate the conditions, the lies, the restrictions we hold on ourselves, to enable us to release those things out so that we can come back to this place of inner understanding. As personal planets, they affect us all individually. They allow us to shift and grow from our individual standpoints, enabling us to step into new stories, to step into new ways of giving love, and to initiate things from this place of understanding and desire. So this, as an underlying background energy to this full moon in Virgo, is really going to empower us to get behind our actions, get behind our words, to get behind our love. And in this way, that comes from this place of sovereignty, this inner self. We also see a square with Jupiter in Gemini. Square aspects are aspects of tension. So this is asking us to see where we are standing in the way of our abundance. Gemini is the mutable air sign. It is about communication and the ways that we can change and express ourselves. So this square with Jupiter, the planet of abundance, the planet of expansion, is really going to ask us where we are standing in the way of our expansion. So to enable us to transform with this full moon, it's asking us to look at where we're holding ourselves back. Where are the actions that we can take that will allow us to grow the seeds we are planting and to express ourselves from a place of love? We see a couple of sextiles as well. Sextiles and trines. Those are harmonious aspects that kind of help to balance and influence the energies around us and enable us to bring things into unity, bring things into symbiosis, have them working together in this like harmonious way. The first sextile we see is with Mars in Cancer. Mars is the planet of action. It is the ways that we turn up. It is focus, the energy we have, the drive. It represents how we act, where our actions are coming from, the desires behind those actions, how we direct and use our energy, and how we move through life. While in Cancer, it's looking at how we turn up within our homes, within our being. We are our home, within our families, within our relationships, and how we can see where the actions that we take are affecting ourselves and affecting others. So this harmonious sextile with Mars and Cancer is allowing us to get behind our actions. It's giving us this push towards taking the actions that are going to allow us to have the courage to transform and act from this area of sovereignty, act for the self in order to move into our future. Really getting behind the actions that we are taking to enable us to push forward, to push into our being, to push into the changes that we want to make at this full moon. We also see a trine with Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is the planet of change. It is the planet of the unconscious consciousness. It is that connection of revolutionary change that allows us to have our individuality, to be unique in ourselves, to have the freedom to do things differently, to do things our way. It's also the energy of drastic change. Drastic change is what's going on with this eclipse. So this trine, this harmonious connection with Uranus, the planet of change in Taurus, is really going to help us ground these changes into our being, ground these changes into our routines, ground these changes into our habits, and really support us as we push forward and move into the transformations that are occurring, into the seeds that we are planting, into the new forms of communication that we're giving from this place of love of self, and enabling us to conquer the restrictions that we have on our abundance, allowing us to bring new routines into our abilities and to go towards our dreams, really supporting us in moving forward, supporting us in the changes that we know are necessary to make. The final aspect we see with this full moon alignment is a trine with Pluto in Aquarius. This is the last aspect as the planets move through this full moon energy on the 14th, and it's really going to be pushing us into this energy of change and rebirth. Pluto is the planet of transformation. It is the planet of death, rebirth. It is the cycles that we walk through and how we regenerate and bring things into being. And while in Aquarius, it is about pouring these changes, our changing knowledges, into the world as we turn up. So this final trine with Pluto is really emphasizing this whole energy, wrapping up this eclipse as we get ready for the moon to begin to start waning, moving through its cycle of decrease, its cycle of release, its cycle of rest and renewal, asking us to take the changes that we are putting forward and act on them, allowing us to move into this energy of courage, the courage to forgive ourselves, the courage to move forward, the courage to shift from the past into the new by taking the actions towards our dreams that are necessary. All these planetary energies coming together to help support us during this full moon, to help support us during this eclipse season, and to support us as we move through great change, as we move into those energies that are going to allow us to shed our past, that are going to allow us to speak more authentically, allowing us to change the story that we're telling so that we're not standing in the way of our abundance by saying, oh, I can't do that because I can't. Instead, it's going to allow us to shift into those energies of expansion, into those energies of abundance, knowing that we are enough in all of our forms. This axis between Virgo and Pisces, this beautiful eclipse energy, this blood moon that's giving us the courage to change, is really being supported by all the planetary bodies and showing us that we have the power to grow our dreams as long as we are standing in a place of authenticity, in this place of knowing ourselves, knowing our changing cycles, knowing that we need to make changes and acting on those changes, allowing us to bring them into being. Beautiful energies to allow us to transform. For the only constant that we will see in our world is change. And from that change, we're going to be able to grow and renew and rebirth ourselves and bring things into being.